Good morning, this is Bebs the Explorer. Welcome back to my channel. Yay!
Asking questions and they're looking for answers. You know, about 3 months ago, I was on the Kowloon side. And, I'm a Hong Kong Island person. Who's a Hong Kong Island person? I don't go to Kowloon that often. So I was in an area that I was not familiar with. And so me and my husband, we were going somewhere. But then within, something strange happened. Within, I think, a span of 45 minutes to 1 hour, strangers came up to me to ask random questions. It doesn't happen to me that often. I don't know about you, but with the social distancing, people don't just go up to you right now, right? But within about 45 minutes, different strangers came up to me to ask random questions. How random? A man came up to me, just looked at me. There were other people around, but he looked at me and said, "Do you know what kind of wrapping paper is good for a 4-year-old?" And I thought, okay, maybe I look like a mum, okay? So I told him I did that one, And then just about 15 minutes later, I was in a lift, and the lift doors were closing, and we were going up, and then suddenly someone just looked at me. There were other people in the lift, they just looked at me and said, "Hey, does this go up to the 2nd floor?" And I thought, I'm not a lift operator, I don't know this place. And then me and my husband were saying, if it happens for the 3rd time, maybe God is trying to tell you something. So, within minutes, we bumped into a group of strangers, and they came up to me and said, "Hey, do you know the way to so-and-so?" And I just happened to know the way. And I told them, okay, let's go, because I'm going there as well. So, me and my husband, we were thinking, God is telling me something. And you know what? I do know the way. We have the answers. You and I, we have the answers. We have the answer to hope. We have the answer to joy. We have the answer to abundant life. We have the answer to peace, everlasting peace. Don't keep it to yourself. We know the answer. And you know what? I'm just praying that we will remain to have that, awesome wonder of a kindergarten child. A kindergarten child, in kindergarten, if the teacher asks the question, if they know the answer, what do? Beep, 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 beep. I pray that, we don't keep our faith personal, but public. Our faith is not meant to be inward, but outward. The reason we are saved, the reason we are called, so that we will go and tell. We are the hope of the world. We are here for a purpose. We are here to make a difference. And so my prayer for every one of us is that wherever we set our feet upon, that place, that area, that the spiritual atmosphere is going to be changed because of you. Turn to the person next to you. It's because of you. Believe it. Because look at Jesus. He made a difference wherever he went. Lives were transformed. The lost had hope. People were healed. The poor had help. And he had the good news for everyone. Do you love Jesus? Do you love Jesus?
Amen.
Because in John 14:15 he says this, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." To make a difference takes more than just saying, "I love Jesus." It takes more than just, personal time with the Bible. It takes more than just, coming together to do a sharing. You will have to act, live, and put into practice what Jesus says. People need to see that our faith is real. People need to know that what we believe in, we will act it out so that they can see Jesus through our lives. God didn't save us so that we can go back into our old lives. He saved us so that we can live for him now. We have a new life that we can live for him. And this is what we're doing in this series. I'm praying that we will put our love, our passion for Jesus into action, and we're going to be more like Jesus. Because you know what? The world doesn't need more information. The world doesn't need more criticism. The world doesn't need, even more opinions. What the world needs is compassion. In a world that is hurting, in a world that is wounded, where there's pain and suffering, in a world where now opinions can't even coexist, we need compassion. So before we go into Matthew chapter 9, so what is compassion? If we break down the word compassion, it comes from two words. Passion, passio is the Latin word, and it means to suffer, to endure. And if you put the word C-O-M, com in front of it, com means together. So if we have the word compassion, it means to suffer with, to suffer together, to bear on someone else's pain, or to bear it with him. And it's different to pity, because pity is more like, you're looking at the pain and say, oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible, poor you. Sympathy and empathy is more like you're relating to the pain. You can relate to it. It's like, I feel for you. I have concern for you. I'm aware of your pain. It's like, when we see the news and we feel kind of upset, when we see a person in pain. But compassion is more than that. Compassion is more than simply just seeing a person in need or recognizing that need. Compassion is the next step. Compassion stirs you into action. Compassion starts with empathy and sympathy, but then it turns outward with the intent to help. You would ask the question, how can I help you? According to the dictionary, compassion is the sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with a desire to alleviate it. It means you see someone in distress, you're sympathetic, but you want to ease the pain, you want to relieve it, you want to lessen the load. Compassion moves us to do something, and it is this component of action that makes it different to pity, sympathy, and concern. Compassion gets involved. Compassion is love in action. Say with me, love in action.
Love in action.
But you know what? Sadly, reports show that empathy levels or compassion levels are on the decline. In the US, they did a survey between 1979 to 2009. It was a while ago, but it shows that empathy levels have fallen 48%. 48%. That means compassion is on the decline. People are caring less and less. So what's the reason for that? Why are people becoming more apathetic? They have several reasons. One of them being, they call it compassion fatigue. I looked this up. It means that, if you're exposed to a long time of suffering, you've been exposed to that for a long time, you kind of get numb to it. And there's a term for that as well, psychic numbing. And it's so true. It used to be for the caretakers, hospital people, because they see it every day. But now, because of social media, because of the internet, we are all accessible to, news every day. And in effect, they say we can become numb to it. We become desensitized and we have less emotional response. For instance, the pandemic. When it first came out, hundreds of people were dying. And then it turned to thousands. And then now, millions. And you know what? To most of us, it's just become a statistic. So what the experts are saying, sadly, is that the more people die, the less we care. We become numb. And you know what? It is so easy now with our device. We, as human beings, we don't want to be drawn too much emotional energy. So with a flick of a switch or a swipe of your finger, you can just turn all that off. Who wouldn't want to see a cat video or a funny dog video, right? Emotional compassion fatigue. Another platform, because of the social media platform, you have to admit, is all about me, isn't it? The platform is for self-expression. What I think, how I feel, what I like, what I'm experiencing, what meal I'm having, what fun I'm having. It's not bad. It's not evil. But you know what? Because we are self-centered beings, social media have highlighted our self-obsessive tendencies. And we tend to care less now because we've built a world all about ourselves. And social media algorithms don't help because social media algorithms are designed to feed you posts that appear on your device targeted at your interests. So you keep seeing things and encounter information, opinions that reflect your own. So no wonder we're becoming more polarized because we are always being reinforced that we are right. So this kind of shift makes people more apathetic. And then another reason, interestingly, negative thoughts and pessimism can lead to apathy. And I think for the past 2 years, because of all this, all the uncertainty, some disappointments, And I think many of us haven't weathered too well. And it's been harsh, the continual changing circumstances have made people fearful and insecure. And when people are hit with negative thoughts, they become so tied up with their own struggles, they are less attuned or care about others. So with all these reasons added, psychologists concur that people now care more about themselves, their own welfare, which leads us away from empathy. Imagine a world without compassion. That would be a horrible world to live in. A world without compassion, there would be indifference, there would be unconcern, there would be unresponsiveness, there would be passivity. No one cares for anyone anymore. And the worst thing is, they don't even care that they don't care. So my question to you is, do you still care? Do you still care? As children of God, we are called to be compassionate people. Colossians 3:12, Paul reminds us to put on a heart of compassion. We are called to be compassionate because God, that's the nature of God. It's rooted in the nature of God, who is full of compassion. Our God is a God of compassion. Psalms 86:15. But you, O Lord, are a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. Psalms 103:13 tells us that the Lord shows compassion to those who fear him. Lamentations 3:22-23. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies or compassion never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. This verse tells us that God's compassion is infinite and eternal. It never ends. It's new and new every morning. 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. He is the Father of compassion. God loves us so much that he sent Jesus, his son, to die for us. He desires so much to lift us out of our pain and our misery, to rid our lives of eternal sin, that he sent Jesus for us. And you know what? Jesus came, and he was the perfect reflection of God our Father. He is the tangible expression of compassion. And in the Gospels, over and over again, we see Jesus being full of compassion. The word compassion in the Greek means to be moved in the inner parts. And in some versions it says to be moved as to one's bowels. I know we had healing for the past week inside, right? But it's not that kind of bowels, okay? It's about the heart, your inner being. The seat of your emotions, you are moved. There's a prompting. It's like that kick in your stomach that you get when you're excited. You have to make a move.